And we are live. All right. Welcome back. Hello. Oh, man. Stream number 6. We can do it. It was a tough one yesterday, a long one. Actually, it was a good one. It was a fun one. Glad so many of you could watch and chat with us. Made it a lot of fun. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you were there, if you weren't there, go back and watch it.
And if you're asking what was it, it was about concept design. We had a special guest, Lauren Wood, who's worked at Gearbox Software and on films and whatnot, doing concept design, drawing really cool spaceships, awesome stuff like that. We went, what was it, about an hour?
Hour and 15 minutes.
15 minutes or so of information about how to potentially break into the industry, things to make you more creative, all kinds of little good bits of information within that.
Yeah, it was great. So, I always forget, but hey, if you're new to us, this is Escape Pod. My name's Sean. That's Todd. There we go, pointing down in the correct direction. Always helpful to not point in random directions. So, we're going to do something a little bit different today. We are going to, after yesterday, we were inspired. We thought we'd continue the momentum. So we thought we would actually just draw. So Todd's going to draw on his screen, and I'm going to draw here if I can get it set up correctly. And we're just going to chat actually. So about whatever we want. And if you're there, and you want to chat and ask us questions, go for it.
Yeah,
That's really all today is. All right. So I think Todd's going to be drawing digitally. I'm going to try to get mine traditional stuff going. So I'm going to go over to his screen and hide mine while I move my camera around.
you get lucky. I prefer to draw on paper with pen, but we'll work digitally today because I don't have my arm and my setup yet, so I can draw on paper. So now I just got to figure out what to draw, Sean. This is always the hardest thing. I didn't put much thought into this before I came in today.
Don't say that. Say you're put tons
I was
of thought
putting
into
in
it.
copious amounts of thought into this before I came in today, just trying to figure out what I might feel like drawing. And since I don't really know, I'm just going to start drawing something.
If there's someone in the chat, why don't you tell him what to draw?
Oh, geez, that's dangerous.
That's awful.
That is the worst. Let's not do that. If you do have questions, though, feel free to ask.
I always forget. I plan on getting music and turning that on. I always forget that.
It's not too late.
It's not too late. I could get that going. Hold on.
Dude, go to Ben Sound. They've got lots of cool stuff. bensound.com. Really good place for music that is royalty free. So I'm just making a little house, Sean. I don't know what I'm doing.
You need to share your screen. Otherwise, we're just watching you.
Duh. Now, this is the mystery of what I'm drawing. So you guys are going to have to guess as I go.
What does it look like, Todd's drawing?
Let me show you. And then you might just want me to hide it. Through the magic of Teams, I am now sharing my screen, am I not?
Yeah, you are.
Excellent. Very cool. All right. Let's see. I'll make sure it doesn't crash on me. So once you're done, Sean, I've got some questions for you.
Okay.
Some really thought-provoking questions.
All right. Sorry. I have my mic on one side and my drawing stuff on the other. I might have to switch to a digital as well.
Just do it. Come join me. So I mean, I can talk a little bit, I guess, while I'm doing some of this. So when I start doing stuff, and I have no idea what I'm doing right now, but I do everything with really simple shapes first, and then I'll go through and skew things and kind of add all kinds of stuff on the top. And this is why I like to work with pen, with paper. One of the things Lauren was talking about yesterday was that when you have pen and paper, you can't just go through and erase lines, which I would do to death if I could, which is why I try to avoid pencil. I'm too much of a perfectionist, and I pretty much hate most everything that I make. So it's rare that I get something that I actually really feel like I enjoy. So this is just kind of a warm up right now. I'm just going through, and I figured I'd just make some kind of little house or something like that, and I'm going to do something to it. I'm not quite sure what yet, but something's going to happen to this, and it's probably not going to be great in terms of maybe it gets squashed or something. And I don't like where that sits. One of the things that I do not like about working digital is that you can't rotate your page. And I rotate my page all the time. And you can, but I don't like doing it digitally. I don't think it feels the same. Digital drawing to me as a whole doesn't feel quite the same.
All right. I am not going to be able to get this set up. However, I am going to show what I was going to do.
Oh, man.
So forgive the shaky cam because it's going to be in my hand. So let me pop back over here. All right. So I mentioned it yesterday in our stream. One of the books that I like to look at, which is, here we go, The Human Figure by John Vanderpool. So I normally draw out of this just for practice. So I spend about 30 minutes a day just for practice. And so I'll go through and I'll just draw whatever's in there. So I'm slowly working through the book. And so this is my sketchbook that I've been doing I do this off and on. I don't do it every single day. But I have done it for about the past 2 weeks or so. So you can kind of see what I'm doing there. It's all on, anatomy and parts of the body, so you can see most of this stuff is just face stuff right now. Different parts.
So how'd you find that?
Yeah, so when I was in Los Angeles, working at Rhythm and Hues, I wanted to take some painting classes. And so I took let me scoot this back around here. Sorry. You don't get seasick looking at all that. So when I was at Rhythm and Hues, I wanted to take some painting courses. And so there was a guy that I really liked. His name was Jeremy Lipking, but he can't remember why I didn't take classes from him. He might have been a little bit further away, or maybe he wasn't giving classes at the time. But I found another guy who was like a friend of his. His name was Joseph Todorovich. So I had never done. He's an oil painter, paints figures mostly, but I took just a portrait workshop with him. Had never painted in oils or anything, so it was a learning curve. But while I would talk to him, I would normally try to show up a little bit early and just pick his brain and ask him questions. He recommended that book. He said it was a great book to kind of study from. So that's where I got it. That was years and years ago. So again, I just kind of pick it up from time to time. Your house is looking really great.
Oh, this might be the best thing I've ever drawn, Sean. I'm trying to figure out exactly what I'm going to do to this, and I think I have an idea, but I'm not quite sure just yet. So let's We're gonna get a little Bob Ross here.
Gonna draw some nice trees.
It's gonna start to get a little crazy.
In case anybody's curious about going about the way that I draw that stuff, so it depends on what I'm drawing. So for that stuff in particular, since I'm trying to kind of match realism, I use certain types of pencils. I don't know if you can see those, but the brand doesn't matter. But I use these, and you can see I sharpen them kind of funky, just so that they stay sharper a little bit longer and has a really, really fine point. But really, I only use, I'm trying to see here, I use like a 2H, an HB, and I think this is like a 4B. You can do pretty much whatever you want with those three pencils. However, I was really stupid when this is I know everybody likes to do it, but you think the tool is going to make you an awesome artist, and they don't. That's why these brands really probably don't matter. But I went out when I was first starting, and I bought this. I bought all the pencils. I bought every single one, 6H, 5H, all the way down to like an 8B. I don't ever use them. I only use like 4 or 5 of them. So, lesson learned. You can pretty much learn to draw with a 2B pencil. Get yourself an eraser. That's all you really need. I do have some little like pen erasers that I use, so you can get in there. It's a little bit easier to control. Though you can use a kneaded eraser, whatever like that. So that's if I'm doing that kind of stuff. Normally, if I'm just drawing, I tend to use a red and a blue pencil, mainly because I think it's habit from seeing animators, 2D animators use them. And so then I picked it up and started doing it. Again, it doesn't really matter. And then I also will use these, so I don't think I have any. I don't know where my bag is. There's my bag. A Blackwing. They have different levels of softness and hardness, and I've got this Palomino. I don't. It's too soft for me. I wish I had gotten the one that was a little bit harder. But they're a really nice pencil. But again, this pencil doesn't make you a great artist. It just means you spent more money on a pencil.
But you can lay them out and they look really nice.
You can impress your friends. You can say when you're drawing somewhere and somebody sees you, it looks a little bit different from a regular pencil. So then they're going to automatically think you're a great artist. So you can go with that. However, I can attest it doesn't make you draw well. Yeah, I'm just going through my bag here that I just mainly have some red and blue. I have a number of these sharpened, and then these like little like colored pencils, like it's like an oil color pencil. Again, this works just like a regular black colored pencil would work. So again, it's nothing super special. I mean, they're nice, but again, just grab a pencil and start drawing, or a pen, or whatever you want to draw with. All right, I'm gonna try to get my my setup going. Try to get some music going too.
Yeah, we need some tunes.
All right. What was the name of that website? Ben what?
Ben Sound. So I'm trying to go through here and just basically roughing out. Like I said, I didn't know what to start with here. So I started with Little House, and usually my stuff tends to skew towards something not great is happening. So in this case, I've got some kind of tripod walkers that are basically cutting a hole in the roof, ripping out a family member, and I think I'm going to have them checking out their car as well. And this is basically the way I tend to like to work, where I don't think too much about the composition just yet, where I'm going through and I'm kind of roughing everything out. And then what I'll probably end up doing is redrawing this whole thing from a different angle, um, and kind of getting down into it and kind of making it more exaggerated. But this is kind of my first rough. And I think, I think when a lot of people try to draw, it's really hard to get in there and nail your composition first. And I think a lot of times you don't see artists upfront stuff where they're basically figuring things out for themselves. I tend to have to do a lot of that before I can get something that I actually like. So I'm going to go through now and just try to. I'm not worrying about the design so much just yet. I'm just trying to get a sense of what this might look like, and then I'm going to go in and basically try to fit it into like a 1920 by 1080 HD kind of format here. So I'm going to start skewing some stuff. And I'm not worried too much right now about my perspective being 100% amazing, but I will at some point. One thing that's actually really nice that sometimes you can do is to go through, and if I just take this green right now, if you know where your lines fall, you can kind of go in and just rough out for yourself what should be the correct perspective. This is where the ability to draw straight lines comes in handy. And let me just take that and multiply it right now and just knock it down a little bit so I can see through it. So if you need something like that, that can definitely be helpful. I don't know why there's a little steeple on top of this. It looks kind of goofy, but I'm just going to keep going with it.
Off.
We'll put a weather vane or something up on top, just a little something. Again, we'll clean all this stuff up later. I don't know about you, Sean, but I have a hard time sitting down and just drawing for the sake of drawing. I tend to want to have a purpose behind what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
I think that's because when I was in school, everything had was a project, or there was a requirement, or there was this, or there was that, and I got really used to that. Maybe we can put some of those cool little. Start adding some cool little stuff to this. Is it true that you knew Bob Ross, Sean?
I didn't know him. I met him and then just tried to emulate his hair for a while.
So did you have art classes in school, in college? What
Yeah,
kind of classes were you taking?
Do you mean like fine art?
Yeah, anything. Like, what kind of stuff were you
So I
taking?
went to Savannah College of Art and Design, and let's see, they require a number of fine art that you have to do, and a lot of fundamental art classes. So yeah, I did do that, but so I went for computer art. That was before they had like animation as a major. So I did computer art, and I'm trying to think. So it was really just like a general education. But there was a time, probably, I don't know, maybe halfway through, where I actually was gonna go. I was thinking of switching to painting as my major, rather than animation, just because there was something about it that I really liked, and I didn't end up doing it, but that has always kind of stuck around, which is why every once in a while, I go back to it. It's certainly not a something that I would say I'm really excellent or anything like that. It's just like a hobby. So yeah. So yeah, I took those, and I spent most of my time in in high school, like a lot of people. I just drew all the time. I normally spent. I think in high school I probably had. What do you have? Like 7 classes that you take. 3 of them a day. I was in the art room. If I ever had a break in any class, I asked if I could go, and most of my teachers knew that that's what I did, and so they knew if I had a break, they would just let me go. So I would just go and work on projects in there. So I did
Nice.
that all through high school, really. Just whether it was drawing or painting, I just did it over and over and over all day long, and then I got burnt out. By the end of high school, I didn't want to do it anymore. So.
So what'd you do then?
Well, I went for I switched to well, first I did computer science. That lasted 1 semester. Uh,
You
I
don't
was
strike me as a computer scientist.
nope, definitely wasn't. Definitely did not do well with that. That lasted 1 semester, and I switched, and I went into broadcast television. Um, and I did that for a little bit, for I don't know, 2 years, year and a half, 2 years. Um, had some really cool opportunities that I got to do. It was a lot of fun. I really did like it. Uh, Getting to produce your own shows and come up with ideas and that kind of stuff. Very fun. I did. So it was broadcast TV, so you were getting experience working with actual cameras and everything. So there was a time where I got selected to go work for Canadian Broadcast Corporation at the Olympics, the 2000 Sydney Olympics. So I was going to go down there, and to get practice for that, one of my professors set up a a job. Basically, it was basically he said, "Hey, I got this job for you. If you want to do it, it's over in North Carolina." At the time I was in school in Kentucky. Um, it's in North Carolina. It's for a hockey game. You just got to run the camera. That's all he told me, and told me where to go. And I was like, "You know what it is? Like, what kind of hockey game?" And he's like, "No, I don't really know." I'm like, "All right, I'll do it." So I went and I showed up. I got in super late into I think it was Charlotte, um, and flipped on Sports Center, and then realized, oh, this is gonna be a, I don't know what it was that I was watching, but I realized that it was gonna be an NHL game, broadcast on like Fox, and and then I got really nervous because I had never really run a camera. I thought it was just going to be like a local whatever. So I showed up at the place, and they gave me like 4 big boxes, like gigantic boxes, and they said, "Hey, there's your camera. Go put it together." I'm like, I have never even run one of these. I certainly don't know how to put one together. So luckily, some guy helped me out. But I worked from noon to midnight straight, and it was an awful experience. I mean, absolutely awful. I didn't know what I was doing. I was I was getting cussed at nonstop, uh, and then eventually I just got relegated to the director was tired of yelling at me, and he said, "You see the penalty the penalty box? If you could just point your camera at who is ever in the penalty box and not move it, that would be great." And that's what I did like the rest of the night.
That's awesome.
But to be fair, he was asking. He's like, "Hey, if you can, what I want you to do is I want you to put the top of the guy's head at the top of the frame. I want you to put his feet at the bottom of the frame, and I want you to follow him." I'm like, he's skating. So not only am I moving left to right, he's coming forward and backward. I mean, it's not like he's just going in a straight line. And I'm trying to follow this, and I'm sure it was just horrible. But anyways, I did that horrible experience, and then I went to the Olympics, which is an awesome experience. But then I decided, looking at that, it was 2 to 3 weeks of just straight work. You were there late into the night, it was fun, but when I looked at the people who were doing it, it was not. I decided, I was like, man, this is not the life I want. So
Why was that?
because they were working nonstop and they were never home, and I thought that's not what I want to do. And when I got back home, I was like, well, what do I want to do? Hey, I want to do animation, which obviously, looking back, is the exact same as broadcast TV. You work nonstop and you're never at home. So I just traded one for the other. So anyways, I ended up switching from broadcast to computer art or animation. I focused on animation, and that was kind of it. That was my switch.
Very nice.
Well, what about you?
What about me?
I mean, I know you did product design and all of that.
Oh yeah.
But how did you end up in modeling?
That's funny, man. So when I was in school, I finished undergrad industrial design. So it was a lot of like building models and building like foam core stuff and polyurethane and polystyrene and wood, and like because there was no 3D printing or anything like that, so you basically built it. We had a whole model shop, so I would be down in the model shop building models a lot, sometimes for days on end without going home. And it was so nasty and so dirty. My girlfriend, now wife, would bring me Wendy's, and I'd walk outside to eat it, and I looked like someone literally dumped a bag of powdered sugar over me because I was just covered in fine blue dust. So you would take your mask off, and all you saw was little bits of your eyes and a little bit of your kind of muzzle. It was nasty and probably not healthy. I'm assuredly not healthy. But I did that, and then at Ohio State, they had that's where I went for my undergrad and my grad. They had a program called ACAD, which at the time was pretty well known. There's a lot of people from Pixar that were there. The guys that started Blue Sky came from there and whatnot. So I decided I wanted to do that even more than go into like product design, let's say. So I'm trying to draw while I'm doing this, and I don't know if I can do both. But anyway, I'm going to try. So I was doing that, and in between grad and undergrad, I actually got an internship at Ford. So I went to Ford and was designing trucks for the summer. And it was the most intimidating thing that I have ever, and I'm drawing a truck right now just because I can't not think about it. It was the most intimidating thing I've ever seen in my life, and the most intimidated I've ever been, where you feel completely inadequate because here you are with people who are coming from, there's two main automotive design schools in the country. One's in California. I don't know if it's CCA. It's Creative Center for Arts or something like that, right? And there's one in Detroit. And the people that were there that I was working next to were from those schools, and their stuff was just mind-boggling. And there I was, and I've never been like the best artist or best kind of drawer, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
Trying to, basically, they would make you put all of your stuff up. And I remember the very first day, they were like, let's here's a truck, because we were working on the F-250 and F-350 trucks. And I just draw some stuff out, put it up, and I put mine up, and I've never been so embarrassed in my life because it was not a good drawing by my own standards at any point. And then you put it up next to these other ones, and you just look like a complete fool. And you could see the people there looking at you like, why is this individual here? Like, who picked this kid? So what was cool about it was I would go back. We had the absolute worst. It was in, I think we were in Southfield, Michigan, just outside of Detroit. And there was a little school there, a college. And I was with my friend who also got into Ford as an intern, but was in he was in the research stuff, my friend Eric Mindek. And so we were both there, and they gave us this room. It was terrible. It was not a good dorm. It was nasty. So all I did, because I didn't want to pay attention to the room, I didn't want to be in it, I just sat and drew trucks literally for like 3 months. And what was cool was by the time I got done with it, They made us do a big presentation at the end where they gave us like a new platform that they were trying to develop, or some kind of like utility vehicle, something or other. So they paired us in teams, and I was working with some other guy. I had already done some modeling stuff, so I built the entire interior of our design in 3D, which nobody there knew how to do, that I was working with. So they were kind of blown away by that, and I was like, well, this isn't really much of anything, but that's cool because at least I did something.
Right.
And then I posted up the trucks and stuff like that. And my takeaway from that, there's two takeaways from that summer for me. And one was having lunch with a guy named Jay Mays, who's the guy who designed the Audi TT and then the Mustang when it came back out. Like he's a famous industrial design auto guy, right? And we were having lunch because the interns got to eat lunch with people every once in a while. And they went around the table asking everybody what they wanted to do. And everyone's like, oh, I want to design cars. I want to work on this part of the car. And I said, I want to do computer animation. And they looked at me like, what? Why are you here? And the one guy said to me, he's like, you're not going to do that. And I was like, are you serious? And that has stuck with me forever. I will never forget being told that, because I hate being told I can't do something, that I'm incapable of doing something, right? So
you're the John Locke of
yes, basically. So that has motivated me like you can't believe for how long. It was just so irritating to me. But anyways, I went back to grad school then and started learning Maya, and spent 2 years there teaching design classes, which is also how I got my start in teaching, because I was teaching there the entire time. So for like 2 years, or I think I was there for 2 years. I went straight through summers and everything. But I taught every semester, teaching design studios, teaching drawing classes, everything else for design. And when I got to the end, we had made a short film. My friend Ian Butterfield, who is out at Disney now, and my friend Scott Swearingen, who's at EA, we worked on a short film together. And from there, kind of sent my reel out to SIGGRAPH, went down to SIGGRAPH, and then ended up at DNA Productions, out of happenstance. Back in the day when they had you, I don't know if you went, when they had you basically took VHS cassettes of your demo reels. And I had 50. I went down, we took a train because I'm afraid, I didn't like to fly at the time. I fly okay now. But at the time I didn't like to, and my friends knew it. So we took a train, which is the second worst decision I think I've ever made, because the Amtrak trains take forever because they don't control the tracks. So you stop every time another train comes. So I'm not knocking Amtrak. If people love Amtrak, it's awesome, right? I just don't ever want to ride it again. But yeah, dude, so I was traveling down to San Antonio with a duffel bag full of 50 VHS cassettes. I don't know how much it weighed, but it was a lot. And then we'd have to drop the cassettes off, and every day you'd go back and check about like, hey, did somebody check out my cassette? Because they could check them out and take them, kind of like a library, except you could keep it if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So then I got a call from a guy named Sean Jensen, who was with DNA. They just finished the Jimmy Neutron movie. They were working on the series. My drawing is just going, I can't do this at the same time. So anyways, so he basically liked our conversation. He called me during the middle of and I think I've told you this story. You probably heard this a thousand times, Sean, but he called me in the middle of one of the SIGGRAPH presentations, where I was watching kind of like the behind the scenes VFX stuff. And he left a message, but my cell phone, I had just gotten it. This was way back when, it cut off. So I couldn't hear the entire message. So all I heard was his hotel. So then I quickly jumped on a bus, went across town in San Antonio, over to a hotel, went to the front desk and asked what the room number was for this person. Got up there right when he opened the door, and he was about to go out to the show floor. So he was just about to leave. I caught him. He interviewed me for about a half hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Which was mostly about my dislike for the Star Wars prequels, and my like of Lord of the Rings trilogy. And after that was pretty much it. So I had bombed an interview at DreamWorks the day before, where I went in and I just froze. I've never been so frozen in my life. I was so nervous. So I completely bombed that. And then the next day I had this other that would, I basically had to seek out and kind of did everything else. But it just happened to kind of work out. So I started as a modeler there at DNA Productions, because again, it's a kind of an extension of my design background, building things and drawing things, and it was just fun. So modeling was that, and then working on Neutron was cool because there were no designs except for some of the storyboard stuff that they may give you here or there. So I started being able to design my own stuff, which is why that's probably my favorite thing I've ever worked on. And then, long story short, that studio exploded like studios do, and then I ended up here at UTD um, teaching animation classes.
So
That's
you
more than
know,
you asked. I think you just asked how I got into modeling.
right, but that's all right. You know that I applied at DNA right before you guys went under.
That would have been a great time to join.
Yeah, yeah. Then I could have been a part of two companies going under.
There's nothing better than being part of failing companies.
Right.
Actually, I those were some awesome people there at DNA, and I loved every minute of being there. And I was really upset when that closed down. And we're getting into some industry talk here, and I know you've been through something similar. Where at the time, my wife was when they basically made the announcement, my wife was pregnant with our first daughter, and that is the most agonizing thing in the world. Where it's like, you know your end date is coming up, and you also know you have a child coming. So it's kind of like
Right.
that was where, and they talk about industry being for like a young people's game, and I don't think that's necessarily true, but that's where I think you start making choices. And like you said, had you joined DNA, that would have closed down. I almost went to EA Chicago. I had a test with them, um, and I decided I didn't want to finish it because we have a house and whatever. But then they closed 6 months later. So I would have moved to Chicago, uprooted everything, and then 6 months later I would have been looking for a job again. So I'm glad I didn't do that.
Yeah. So I just remembered the transition that I had between broadcast and animation. What made me switch schools? So I at first for broadcast I went to a school called Asbury in Lexington, Kentucky. But obviously I went to SCAD for computer art, and I was when I decided that I wanted to do animation. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what school to go to. Didn't know where to. I didn't really know anything about at the time the animation industry. Didn't know anything. I just thought it was cool, and I liked computers, and I thought, well, maybe I could do that. Well, I went to one of the guys who I went to school with, who was like a year behind me. Man, what was his name? I think it was like David Cook or Daniel Cook or something like that. Doesn't matter. His dad was Barry Cook, who was one of the directors of Mulan. So he worked at Disney. And when I found that out, when somebody told me, it's like, oh yeah, so and so's dad is Barry Cook. I remember I was home on break, and I thought, well, I'll just call him. I'll just call Barry Cook, because apparently back then in in like 1998, you could just call Disney and ask for directors' names, and they would connect you. Uh, so, so I don't know. I don't even remember how I did it. I just remember I called Disney and I said, "May I please talk to Barry Cook?" And they connected me. And so,
That's hilarious.
that'll never ever 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 happen again. Like nobody can call some studio and just get randomly connected to an animation director or director. But anyways, they did. Thankfully, they did. I actually explained who I was. I was like, "Hey, I go to Asbury. I go to school with your son. So you're familiar with the program, obviously, because your son is in the program. I think I want to do animation. Can I do it if I stay here?" And he just goes, "Nope." I said, "Where should I go?" And he named like three schools. He named Columbus College of Art and Design. He
Yep.
named SCAD, and I forget where else he recommended. And then he sent me like a giant packet of stuff, of just work and things that they give like beginning animators. And I wish I had saved it, because I know the stuff in there would have been awesome. I was too new and too dumb to like think, like realize what had been given to me. So I probably just like threw it in a drawer and eventually just threw it away, because I don't have that anymore. But anyways, I was just remembering. I was like, how random was that I talked to Barry Cook and he pointed me in a direction. Weird times, weird times.
Well, things were different then.
Things were really different, like really different. Like I never did the like SIGGRAPH like tour that people used to do. I didn't go hand out demo reels. I was coming
Really?
in. I mean, I know there wasn't a huge difference in age and when we graduated, but like I was right at the end of the VHS. I remember I made them. I made them in my last class, but that I think within 1 year, those VHS tapes were gone. Like you didn't do those anymore. Then
Well,
it
you
was on.
totally missed out.
Yeah, I'm sure I did. Then it was on a CD, and then real quickly, it was just internet.
Yeah, I think you should still go back and make some VHS cassettes of your work.
Oh, can you even get a VHS? I don't know if you can.
Are you kidding me? Dude, I still have one. It's not plugged in. I still have my reels from VHS. Now that would be something fun for Escape Pod is to go back and find the original reels. Um,
No.
yes, yes, I think that would be an excellent learning experience to show
Actually,
that everyone comes from somewhere.
that will tell you, right? Everyone does come from somewhere. Everyone has to start at the same spot, which is
It's
nothing,
it's called Not Good Town.
and it's bad. It's real bad. Man, if you saw some of the stuff that I made at at SCAD when I was learning, oh, it was awful. Just atrocious, atrocious stuff. And with hard work and dedication, you too
Can become average.
can become an average animator at a company that goes bankrupt.
Ouch. But the industry's great.
It is great. It
Actually,
actually,
the industry is super fun. The problem is it's somebody else's super fun. So you're always working on something that you're basically just doing, right? And that's what I struggled with after a little while was basically, okay, I have an idea for something. It could be really cool if you did this, but that's not your job and it's not your
right.
role.
No, I think it is. I think it can be really cool. It just depends on kind of what your goal is and what you're trying to do.
Yep.
And I think probably with both of us, it changed over time
Oh, most definitely.
what that goal was. Because I wanted to, when I started out and got out of school, I wanted a job. That's all I wanted. And I got a job and really quickly learned I don't want just a job in animation. I don't want to just work on some like direct to DVD thing. I want to work on movies. And so then it became, okay, I gotta really work, and you gotta really work. Like it's a challenge to be able to be good enough to work on a movie. And then once I did that, then you're kind of like, okay, I made it onto movies. And then a lot of times what happens is, I want to go work at the top movie place, whatever that is for you. Uh, and that was definitely there for me for a while. That went away though. It went away after a couple of years. You're like, it's all the
Well,
same.
a project is a project. You're still going in every day for 10 hours a day or whatever it is to sit and to animate. Or I would sit and I would build things. And it's not that it's repetitious, it is repetitious. And I didn't mind that part of it because part of it is you go in, you turn your mind off, and you sit, you put some music on, and you're just doing it. And then, oops, it's lunchtime. And then, oops, it's time to go home, right? But
Yeah,
after a while, it becomes, to me, it wasn't that part. It was everything else that gets tied into it that it becomes frustrating. Um, it's like any other place, right? Like some of the like workplace things that go on, and and it's a super diverse group of people, which is amazing. But it also, in some ways, causes stress because you have to figure out how to work with all these people, right?
sure. But again, I would say it is incredibly enjoyable and rewarding, and at the same time, really frustrating. But man, I would look back on that with some really fond memories. This is memory time, apparently. This is watch Todd draw
Are you
because
even drawing anything?
I'm not, because my Cintiq has like my whole setup for this OBS thing is predicated on you being on my Cintiq. So there was like a minute where I pulled up all my stuff and was getting it ready, and it covered everything of years up. And then I realized that we were just looking at like a blank Photoshop thing of mine because I was covering years up. So
Does it help if I like split my screen in half?
no, we got 10 minutes or something.
Man,
Next
Okay, well,
time,
next,
next time it'll be all on me. I don't mind.
whatever. Well, anyways, this is how I work, and it's not pretty, and it's not, and this is nowhere near what I would do for a finished thing. But I'm just working through ideas and drawing over the top and using thick lines. My drawings, by nature, are really, really rough. So I usually don't show rough stuff to people, but if you can translate it, and again, this is just what it is for right now, so that we can talk. But I'd probably do another pass or two over the top of this before I got something that I really like. Like right now, I'm going to go through. I'm going to rip the entire front of the building off instead of just the door.
I think it looks really good, Todd.
Oh yeah, it's really coming together here. Looks like a couple toilet bowl cleaners trying to attack this house.
Now, I will say for anybody, if you were really wishing to see me draw, I cannot. I'm very poor at drawing digitally, so you're really not missing out on anything. I will get my camera fixed so that I can actually point it down at my desk. Actually, I'll just get my phone so I can do that. Now, there is one viewer out there who is not us. However, it might be one of our kids. Which is why they're probably not chatting, because they don't have a real YouTube.
Or they would have left by now, so I'm not sure.
They left it on. There's somebody there. All right, my goal for next time, music and getting my thing hooked up so that I can do something. Otherwise, you're just sitting here looking at me. So, let's bring up some things that we would like to do on our channel coming up. We are still looking at having another guest in the near future. We got spring break coming up, so we'll see what happens with that. So our guest would probably be definitely after spring break. So we got that coming up. We're releasing now every Friday, I believe.
Yep.
I think that's the plan. An already created video, so like the background painting videos that Todd's doing. So Todd's going to finish out that series, and then I am going to do a harmony rigging series. So I'll rig the whole. I don't know if I'll do 2 for both characters or maybe just 1. Depends on if we get anybody who cares or who has an opinion. I would love to do more of these drawing things where other people showed up and participated, or at least watched and chatted with us. Otherwise, it's just Todd and I talking, which is really just kind of like Todd and I at lunch. We're just not getting to eat. We're just drawing. This is just like our regular everyday. So those are some of the things, and then we are going to get into production on our short as soon as those characters are rigged, because Todd will end up finishing his background before I'll finish the rigging.
I'm going to try to finish the background tomorrow if I can. Time permitting.
I think I'll definitely have one of the... I hope to have one of the rigs totally done by the end of spring break. And if I get one of them completely done, the other one should be relatively quick, because I'm just repeating the process. But anyways, I'd like to create a series of videos for that, which we will do. And then I guess we'll see. Do you have any ideas, Todd?
Nope.
Nope.
Only bad ones.
Only bad ones. Well, we
No,
seem to have
think-
a good response from... Whoa, glasses just hit my microphone. A good response from having a guest, so...
Yeah, I thought yesterday's stuff was fun.
Can we do a poll? you think we'd have enough people to do a poll?
Yes.
Or would it just be you and I voting?
That would be the poll right now, I believe.
I don't mean like today. I just mean like you could put a poll up somewhere. What do you want to see? Did you blow the front of the house off?
I did blow the front of the house off. It's going to be over here now. I didn't think it was as cool. So I'm going to raise it up a little bit too. So it's like he yanked the whole front of the house, and then his other arm's going to have the little guy who was sitting in the chair. But again, this would take another pass on top of what I'm doing right now. So this is how I work through the ideas, though. It's like, oh, this is kind of cool. I started with the house. I didn't know what I was going to do. Now I'm going to rip the front of it off. But now I got to start worrying about lines of action and stuff like that. So then I'm going to go through and get some of that stuff figured out here. So like, for instance, I might put the house, like right now I've got it down here. That's not good. I don't like it there. So I'm going to put it up high. I have the right layer. So we'll put it like way up here, like he just ripped it off. And then, so now this arm is going to kind of be doing something like that. And then we're going to have another arm. Maybe that's got the little person. Whatever. I don't know.
You know what we need? Have completely forgot about it. What was that drawing app? Was it Magma? Is it Magma?
I don't remember.
Magma. Yes, Magma Studio, where you can draw at the same time on the same thing.
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
It would either be cool or really frustrating. Because
Well,
I think we need to do that one time.
it works for me. So I got a couple minutes left, right?
Yes, I might. Right here at the end, I'm working on some music. Sorry.
Oh, that's good for the last like 30 seconds, like a play me out here.
Yeah, I'm gonna play you out with some sweet beats.
Is it Steve Winwood? Some Yanni?
Yeah, gonna get some ABBA.
Do the hustle?
If I can get anything, it'll be a success. Can't remember my password to any of these to Spotify.
Anyways, I'm just finishing this up kind of heavy-handed now. I'm just going in there and putting some lines down, man. This would be a sketch. This might be like a storyboard.
I think it's lovely.
Oh man, it's
What?
already better.
Can you hear anything?
I heard a little bit coming through.
Okay, I don't know if it's coming. I'm gonna try to get it to come through the actual stream rather than just hearing it through my microphone. Oh no, that should be... I think you might be hearing that on the stream. I'm gonna try here real quick. This will be our test. See if we can actually hear this.
Trying to wrap this thing up in like 1 minute.
Sounds good. So there is music being played. Just not sure if it's going out on the stream.
It's doing something. I feel so much more inspired now.
It's much more relaxed.
Yeah.
Well, next time, it'll be there.
Dude, if those people at Ford could see me now. Oh my.
That's great.
All right, dude. This is All right, here we go. Let's just turn this off and just admire the greatness here. This is fantastic.
Who is that, Todd? Like, do you have a inspiration for that character down
I
there?
do. I probably won't reveal that here on the screen.
Oh, okay. Just curious, you know?
Yeah, just maybe. It might be based on a true event or a wishful event.
A wish?
Maybe. But anyways, that's my kind of really, really rough, not finished drawing where I'm just kind of starting with something and adding some stuff to it, trying to figure out scale and proportion and whatnot. So anyways, oy vey. That's rough, Sean.
Todd, it was a try, an attempt with the drawing with us. Didn't work out on my end, and there was no one watching. So it'll be better if we can both draw at the same time, and there are other people who are there. So
I'll be more prepared next time. I might even come in with something kind of rough and then kind of work through it. But
yes, we'll be more prepared next time. I will say, my wife told me she listens to a podcast, and if you go back and look at the very beginning, it starts with podcast number 100. And somebody asked, well, where are the beginning ones? And they said, well, you'll never see those because they were so bad. We're not going to ever release them. All I'm saying is this is our first attempt with this one, right? Unfortunately, it will be on YouTube, so people could go back and watch it. Looking at, judging by what people are watching, I don't think they actually will go back and watch it, so we're okay.
Well, it's all right. I just went and fixed my drawing.
Straight black. Oh, nice. All right. I think that's it. Let me
Sounds
switch
good.
back over here. If you were there, if you pop on, thanks for hanging out and watching Todd draw. And I showed a little bit at the beginning of some of my sketchbook. But
hey, worst case, just turn off the video and just listen to the audio.
you can do that too. Yeah. So, anyways, thanks for joining us. Every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, Escape Pod. We will be doing something. Kind of went over a little bit what we will be coming up in the future. Most likely, we will be here next week, even though it's spring break for us here at the school. And look forward this Friday for a video to pop up on the channel, probably about our backgrounds. All right. With that, I'll say goodbye. So long.
Thanks, everyone.